There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name.
Matter on today, growing where you're planted. Growing where you are planted. As we look around this church, it's not the best neighborhood to live in or to build a church. There's often trash outside on the sidewalks. There are many traffic issues that happen in this area. There are drunks walking around the streets. There's prostitution in the neighborhood. There's drugs all around. The median income is maybe $29,000 maybe. There are children going to bed that are hungry because of the lack of resources that are available in this area. And many of us would never live in an area like this, even though many of us have come from areas that would resemble this same place. As people, we've disconnected from this type of place because we've made up in our minds that we have we moved beyond this. We don't associate with these type of places. In reality, many of us are in the same condition, but we live just in another area. So we look at this situation today where the people of Judah had been sent to Babylon, which was a place that was 10 times worse than an area like this. God sent them there because they were not obedient. They had not been doing as they instructed. He said, now when you look around and God has sent you to an area like this, we have to ask ourselves, we're talking about people that have been sent to even worse places than this. If God sent you to a place like this and you were to sit there for 70 years, what would your reaction be? How would you cope with it? How would you even survive in an area like this? There will be times in our life we have made mistakes. We have done some things that displease God, and it happens. We have to accept what God still says, and we still have to use this as an opportunity to grow. So even when things are not going right, even when we've gone astray, even we've done things God has not, told us to do, and we've done something totally different, God says you still got to learn through the process, but also you got to find a way to grow through your process. The first thing we got to understand is when we're in a situation like that, we just got to learn to bide, our time. He said, when 70 years are complete for Babylon, then I will come back from you. You got to think about it. When God in his wisdom, he loves us so much, even when we make a mess, he gives us time to work it out. I mean, that's a blessing already just to know. Even when I mess up, even I have done something that's contrary to what God called me, I still got time to work my way through my mess. I may not be in the best situation. I may not be in the best location. But even through all that, I still got to understand that God's going to give me an opportunity to work it out. You think about Jeremiah, he had preached the same message for 23 straight years to the people. Yet they continue to reject that, and they were punished for it. You think about it, many of us have heard messages relating to our situation. We heard the situation, we heard it preached over and over and over again, yet we still in the same situation. We've chosen to do other things contrary to what you've heard, what we've read, what we understood. So God said there comes to be a time where you're going to have to go to a place where I'm going to have to sit you to a place where you're going to really get it. So imagine listen to a message 23 straight years and you still not changed. You listen to the same thing. God will get you out of it. God's got victory for you. And you still in the same situation. That's got to be heart-wrenching for you, especially, for a preacher or a teacher. Somebody's teaching you something and he still considers you, sees you in a situation where you fail and fail and fail. When I told you how to get yourself out of financial bond, I told you how to get your life together. I told you how to get out of drugs. I told you how to get yourself delivered. Yeah, we come back and we deal with the same things over and over and over again. Oftentimes, the same things are repeated in our lives and we start to block them out and they cost us dearly. You think about it at times, when you heard the message, you understand it, you walked out saying, man, I'm going to really walk out on faith this time. But then other things come up and we find ourselves right back in the same situation when I thought I was gonna get myself out of it. But a lot of times we get ourselves back in those situations and we don't do what God has called us to do, and it costs us dearly. The people of Judah wanted desperately to get, out of this mess out of their lives, but the false prophets told them, man, you'll be out of this in 2 years. You don't have to go through this in 70 years. Hey, how many of us have been in the same situation where, you've heard something to tell you you're going to be in a situation, and you know it's going to take you some time to get out of that situation, but oftentimes the quick fix or something like that comes along, we want to jump right on it. Sometimes we find ourselves in those situations. We want to get out of the situation the fast we can, right? Nobody wants to go through 70 years of hardship. Shoot, if you told me 2 years, of course, I'm going to jump right on it. A lot of us fall for those same things in our life, man. If you just do this, man, I can get you out of that situation in a week's time, man. That's going to be no problem. But when God's trying to develop his people, it's going to take just a little bit more time than that, because it took you longer time to get in a situation. You think about our faith. If God, responded just like that to everything we would do, we would never learn to go through the process. We would never endure, the strength that we're going to need for the storm that's going to come. You think about those people in Panama, man, it took something to get them through that situation, right? They told them it was coming. They told them the storm was going to come. But some of them decided that they were going to sit there and ride the storm out anyway. And they look out and everything was destroyed. Some of us like to be in a storm just to watch the destruction that happens to others. I mean, can I get a witness? Sometimes we like to sit in a situation and watch things be destroyed because something down inside us like to see things torn up. But we worship a God that likes to put things back together as well. When we're going through, we try not to listen to people that are going to give us that quick fix. There will not be shortcuts to get into God's blessings. No matter how quick we want to get out of a situation, how we want this pain to end, how we want our kids to act right. But there are some situations that's going to take a longer process to get us out of it. Can we be honest? How many of us in the same place right now? We're looking for that easy way out of our situation. But there's no easy way out of your situation. There's no quick fix out of your situation. But too many of us are listening to people that are not connected to God. And those people are the ones that veer us off track. We try to do the best we can, and we want to listen to them. We give them an ear. But these people are not connected to God. So why would I connect myself to somebody who's not connected to the source, giving me information that they think is going to get me right? That makes no sense at all. But it sounds good. It's fine. It sounds real good, don't it? So we go ahead and we fall for it. The false prophets were offering false security, false, peace, prosperity. Think about in our lives, we listen to things on TV that's going to prosper us, that get quick, rich, quick schemes. Man, if you just, those pyramid things were real popular years ago. Everybody wants the quickie. Everybody, we, even in relationships, we want to have, the overnight, everything just falls together for us and we walk, blissfully the rest of our lives. But it just don't happen like that. Relationships take time. They take time to process. And they take time to get us to where we need to be. God rebuked them and said, this is not for me. Don't listen to them. They were misrepresenting God, and they went against God's order. When you got people that are inside of you, inside of your life, trying to tell you things that are not of God, you got to be able to disseminate those things and tell them, no, I'm going to follow what God told me to do. I don't care how long it's going to take me to get out of this situation, because what you're talking about does not line up with what I've been taught. I read the word. I understand what God is telling me. My situation is going to take me a little longer because I created this mess. So I understand how long God is going to take to get me out of this situation. But how many of us in here have that person in their ear telling them something, easy. They just want to ease your pain, clean up your situation. A lot of people, they want to just wipe their debt away. So folks tell you, man, just come out there and pay this whole fee. I'll wipe this thing away from you. But there's ramifications behind that, ain't it? Ain't no quick fix. You know, your credit ain't gonna be right in 2 years. That stuff is gonna linger, it's gonna linger, it's gonna linger. Because the thing about what, but it was, we've already got something that we paid for that folk want their money. So we promised them that we were going to pay for something. We didn't pay for it. Now we got ourselves in trouble. Now we're saying, well, I'm not going to be able to pay you. So there's ramifications from that. A lot of us going through the same situation right now. Folk owe us, and we still say, man, I still want my money. I don't care what kind of situation you going through, what's going on in your life. You borrowed that money. I want my money back. And those type of quick fixes we gravitate to because we think it's all going to be a race. But reality is we still owe somebody and we gotta pay them. There's going to be trouble on the horizon. But God's purpose will override anything that's coming your way. So he's telling them there's gonna be a situation that you're gonna be wrapped up in. It's gonna take you a little longer. Understand this, the trouble's gonna come. But I'm still going to be with you through the situation that you're going through. But you got to go through this process. You imagine, listen to a word over and over and over. You're not gravitating to what God said. He said we're going to have to sit there a little longer. Some of us in the same situation. Even we talk to our kids, we done told them over and over and over. And we find them still doing the same situation over and over again. A lot of times God tells us, let them go and let me handle it. You tried your antidote. That ain't working. You done whooped them, you done talk crazy to them, you done locked them out of your house and all this kind of stuff. But the thing of it is, God says, just let them go. I don't know who I'm talking to try to help you get through this situation, but the thing of it is, you got to understand, God's voice has got to be imminent over anything else that you will hear. I don't care if you go down there and you want to cash a check and you know get that old money, and them folks gonna charge you 20-30% on that little money that you involved. You know, just for a temporary high or whatever it is that you're trying to gain. God said, if you just trust me enough, I can get you out of your situation. I can fix everything. But you got to understand, trusting the process is one of the hardest things we got to do. But you still got to learn to grow wherever you're planted. I can remember when I first started preaching, man, I was all over the country. Man, I'm preaching. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm in California. I'm in Dallas. I'm doing all these great things for the Lord. And I came back to my own church, and there were no opportunities for me. I'm sitting back watching guys, fumble them words and trying to get themselves together. I'm like, where's my opportunity in my own house? Yeah, I see other folk all around the country. They want me to come and all this. And what's going on here? So I said, okay, in my mind, I said, something's not right here. This thing is not going right for me. So, I said, well, let me just start seeking other opportunities at other churches. So I went to one church, and I was assistant pastor there. It was a disaster, just to say the least. We said, well, this is not the place for us. We gave them all that we could. We got to move to another church. I went to another church, and they had promised all these great things. Man, I can get you to that place you need to be. All you got to do is just stay with me, man. I'm gonna get you there, right? I goes there, and this place was worse than the other place. And I said, now wait a minute. That's got to be something. I'm chasing something. Something has got to get me to that place that I need, right? Goes to the next church, and this was worse than the other three. So I sat there, week after week, Brother Roosevelt, and I told myself I wasn't gonna leave until God said. I wasn't going to leave. I was under a pastor that cussed me out and put me down. He wouldn't let my messages go out and all this kind of stuff. I said, okay, I'm going to stay there Sunday after Sunday, going through this abuse, going through this type of things, because I understood one thing. I was not going to let go of God. No matter what the situation was, how bad it looked, how terrible this guy was treating me, I said, I'm not going to leave him. I paid my tithes faithfully. I did everything I was asked to do. I was at every meeting, because I understand God was still going to work something out through my situation. I don't care how bad it was. God was going to work this thing out, right? So I said, okay, even in the midst of all the struggles and all the dysfunction that was going on, I said, I'm going to go down to Houston. I'm going to take me a week sabbatical, and I'm going to find out what it is that God had for me. July 14th, somewhere around in there, 2014. Lo and behold, the birth of Third Dimension Worship Church. But through everything that I had to go through, I had to wait on God to get me out of this situation, because if I didn't wait on him, it would be myself that would be doing it. So I waited, and thus God will make a perfect plan, and his timing is always right. He always gonna make it right for him, but you gotta wait on him.
Amen.
He said, but God still has a plan. And he talks about it in verse 11. He said, I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. I want a plan for you to prosper. I'm not going to harm you. I want to give you hope in the future. One of the things we need, what we're going through, is to know that God has something in store for us. God still has a plan for you. Even when you're in a situation where you feel like you're distressed, even you're in a situation where you feel like there's no end to your situation, even when I'm still going through this situation, being broke, busted, disgusted, God still has a plan for me because we've sojourned with him and also understanding that God is going to do a perfect thing in our life. Judah was punished so they would be redirected back to God. When we follow God's plans, we will be elevated. See, they went through a situation because God had already called him to be his people, but yet they were doing things that were contrary to him. So he said, I'm going to allow you to go through these situations so you can come back to me. Oftentimes we got to go through situations like that so we can be diverted back to God. Sometimes, we have to go through situations because we understand the calling on your life, the purpose God has for you. Has to be a place where God is the center. We talked about it on Wednesdays. If God is not the center of your situation, it's just you. So we're looking for our purpose. You understand this. If God is the center, he's going to work all your situations out for you. You always got to know, God says more than that. I will prosper you while they're in captivity and trials. God says build. Even when you're going through your struggles, you still have to build. We talked about in the previous verses, he told them, not only are you to build, you start to have relationships. Start to build your businesses. Get yourselves together because you're going to be there for a while. When we going through our struggles sometime, the first thing we stop doing is building a solid foundation. When we should be building and understanding that God is still doing something through us. So even when you're going through your struggles, even when you're going through different things in your life, you got to understand you still got to be building. I still got to be building. Whatever it is that's going to give me a firmer foundation, understanding that God is with me, God is going to make this thing right for me, so I just got to keep building. So he said, I still got plans for you. I'm not going to kick you away. I know your brother, cousin, sister don't talk to you no more. But the thing about it is, my relationship with you ain't never changed. I'm going to whoop your tail. I'm going to get you back together. But the fact of it is, I still love you enough to allow you to go through this transition. He said, God tells us, and our future is going to be bright if we follow the plans that he has laid for our future. It's going to be bright, for the children that will return back to the promised land. He said, your future's bright. Just know I'm going to come back for you eventually, and you're going to go back to that place that I destined you for. But the thing about it was, they had to lay a foundation for their children because a lot of them wasn't going to make it. See, so he was telling them, he said, look here, I'm going to come back and get your people because a lot of y'all are not going to make it because they were older. 70 years, a lot of them wasn't going to make it. He said, you, as you're there, build, have children, do everything you need to do because the promise is for them, it's not for you. You've already made your mistake, right? So you may be right here, but even when you're in your stuff, still build and know that I'm still building something from you to bless the next generation that's coming behind you. Oh, somebody missed that. He said, even when you mess it up, you still got a blessing inside you to bless someone else to get to the blessing that I set for you. The blessing don't go nowhere. You just may not get it in your lifetime. Amen. Many of us are the things we're going through now are not for us, but for our children that are coming. So lay the foundation for their future and start building now. Start building now. He said, God tells them, even if you give me your heart in prayer and submission, I will hear you and respond. God said, when you start praying, when I know your heart is in it, he said, then I will respond to you. Just knowing that God is doing everything that he had. Even when they're struggling, they told him to build. All these different things are going on. He said, just understand this. The struggle that you may be going through, it may be not for you, but it's for your children to see as you start to build, because they'll be connected, so when the blessing comes, they'll be able to understand it, and they won't make the same mistakes that a lot of us made. This is why he said, stay in Babylon, because God's plan, has to have time. If you had returned to the promise too soon, they will return back to their old ways and doing some of the same things that they did. God wants you to appreciate the journey so that you would change for the better. He said he understood that, but if I bring you out of this thing too early, you're not going to appreciate the journey early. You're not going to appreciate all them times of sitting at home where you were just bologna to eat. You got to stretch them beans out, another week. You got two pieces of bread and a little sugar and butter. I'm gonna have to stretch this out just a little bit longer. But I understand when I'm going through my situation, God is still providing for me. Yeah. But the fact of it is, it may not be what I want, but he's still giving me what I need to sustain me. Amen. So in the midst of all of that, understand this: your situation may not be that great. I'm not gonna put no nice little thing on it. Some of us are going through some raggedy situations right now. But we understand this: God is still providing. I'm still breathing. I'm still working. I'm still able to do some of the things that I need to do. Right? Amen. We have to learn. The more we're willing to go through the process that God is going to take us through, because there is always a blessing on the other side of obedience. Mm-hmm. There's always a blessing on the other side of obedience. I'm telling you, whatever situation you find yourself in, if you're being obedient to God, there's always going to be a blessing on the other end of it. Never take out of context what you're going through in your situation. There's always going to be a blessing on the other end of it. It may take you a little longer to get there. It may take you a little longer, to build that solid foundation, because a lot of us are starting from scratch. Amen. But the fact of the matter is, even when I'm starting from scratch, if I'm doing it the way God asked me to do it, everything is going to be perfect. God is telling us that, we're going to make some mistakes, but there are going to be consequences, no matter how bad they are. Whatever hardship we encounter, we have to stand strong, bear witness to God's strength to conquer whatever comes up against us. When we make mistakes and bring back bad circumstances down on ourselves, if we truly turn to God in repentance and renew commitment, he will deliver us from the crushing weight of our suffering. That's the promise. Even when you make mistakes, amen, God says, come back and I'll fix it. But you got to go through the process. And we got to learn that. He said, the last part, he said, here's the promise. He said, God will restore you. He said, I will restore you. He said, I'm going to bring you back from captivity. I'm going to gather you from all those places that you've been banished. And I'm going to bring you back from exile. And you're going to be right. The text reminds us that after the time has passed, he will bring us back to our rightful place. So even if I'm displaced, disjarred, whatever the fact of it is, even when I go through my storm, God's going to eventually bring me back to the rightful place that I need to be, But you will stubborn people, right? And many of us are staying our mess longer than we should. Only when we're broken sometimes will we be reconciled back to God. We're dealing with a people sometimes that are hard-headed. They're stubborn. They think the way that they do things is the best way. God's telling you that's not the right way to do things. But we'll sit back and fuss and argue with it into a place where we're broken, to a place where we can only listen to him. Amen. He said, now I got your attention. Now you're going to follow everything that I asked you to do. But think about all the time you wasted. Yeah. When you were in that place that you didn't have to be. That's right. You sat there 10 years longer than what you had to be because you decided to pull over under the bridge in the storm instead of keep on driving through the storm. I told you, through the storm, you'll get there. Yeah. You pulled over, assessed the damage, and some of us are still sitting around now looking at all the carnage that's been wasted, sitting there. God says, I told you to keep moving. Build where you're you got to prosper wherever you are when you build. I know that job may not be great. But I tell you what, build like it's the best thing that ever happened. Because the thing about it is, when I give you the job you're supposed to have, you're going to appreciate the journey that I had to take to get you there.
Amen.
Amen. He said, but God is telling someone here that you're about to be restored, but you got to learn how to seek him now. Your restoration is right around the corner. The fact of it is, a lot of you are right on the cusp of your breakthrough. But he said, until you learn to give it back to me, seek me with a heart of forgiveness. That's when it starts to take place. Drop all those stumbling blocks that are keeping you from coming back to God. Drop some of those things that are keeping you, from studying the way you're supposed to, attending like you're supposed to, giving like you're supposed to. Move those stumbling blocks out of the way.
Amen.
God's trying to restore you and get you back to a place where he can use you. God gives us all gifts. We can't come into the house of God and sit every week. Sometimes you got to walk out on faith and understand, I got to do more for him to get myself out of this situation. And so you're not building while you're here. You got to put yourself in a place where I'm always building, always trying to do what God has asked me to do. And I'm going to get those stumbling blocks out of my way. And some of those stumbling blocks are relationships that we've gotten ourselves into. I know it's comfortable to have your boo with you. But the thing about it is, if your boo is not getting you to God, it ain't the one. If I'm going to get myself up on Sunday morning and you still laid up in the bed, drunk from last night or whatever your situation is, but I'm going to drag myself onto the Lord, you may not be the one for me. Now, there may be some deliverance for you down the road, but right now, where I'm trying to be, this ain't going to get it. Right? So after I know how it is sometimes. We want to have that comfort. We want to have people around us that make us feel better about ourselves. But if you're keeping me from what God wants me, you're not the one for me. Baby, if you can call me only on Saturday night to get me to the club, and I call you at 10 o'clock in the morning, you told me you slept in because it's your only day off, you may not be the crowd that I need to be riding with. I'm just trying to tell you, if I can miss church so easily, because we hung out, we comedy club, we did all these different things, but when I ask you to come to church, you can't do it.
Come on.
That may not be the crowd that I need to be running with. Amen. Because I need the situation I'm in, the storm that I'm in right now, I need folks that's going to help me get to my blessing, not deter me. I don't need nobody just going to be hanging on for Friday night, while you can ram me all around, spend up all my money. Amen. But when I call you Sunday morning for a ride at church, you're not available.
Come on.
You may not be the one that's going to help me get to the place I need to be. So let me get back to the center, because you understand this third dimension work church has a van that will come and get you. So a baby boy don't want to do what he need to do. Baby girl won't get up and do what she need to do. Call the number.
Come on.
Because ain't nothing going to keep me from my blessing, right? God is looking for people that have grown tired and weary of doing things their own way, suffering defeat after defeat, and the time has come. But you got to ask yourself, are you ready? You got to ask yourself, are you ready? Now, I took a beat down. I done took that. Time after time after time, I'm losing the battle.
Amen.
Now you got to ask yourself, am I ready to go to that next level? Or am I going to be consumed with what's going on around me? And then I'll stay in that same place. I mean, come on, somebody help me here. Because sometimes, you can't be tired of the same situation if you keep going back to it.
Amen.
Are you walking on faith, or are you walking on what they're telling you? Because I'm not going to keep walking into a situation that's failing, and I'm thinking it's okay just because they keep the heat on, or they pay my bill, they keep my cell phone working. What good is my cell phone working if my lights ain't on?
Right. Come on.
What good is it, what good is my situation where I can't hear from God because of all the foolishness you pumping into me? Relationships, we want them, right? Yeah. We want to have friends. Boy, I looked at my phone sometime and I said, man, I ain't heard from him in a while. And a lot of people, I just call them randomly. Man, I'm just thinking about you. Because you never know that one that you're going to touch in the midst of your calls. I called my cousin. I ain't talked to him in a year. He said, man, it was so glad. I'm so glad you checked on me. The thing of it was, he said, man, I've been looking for some guidance, man. Can I ask you a few questions? Sure. Mm-hmm. Thing about it was, what if I'd have cut off that blessing right then and there because it was all about me?
Yeah.
It wasn't about me. It was about God using me, because I ain't thought about God in a year. God will send you to people to be a blessing. But you got to be willing to give that blessing to them. But after you suffer defeat after defeat after defeat, you got to say, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to go to that next level. The question you got to be asking yourself today, do I go back to that place that I am? Or do I want to go ahead and continue to battle and get myself together? The question is already proposed. But now you got to answer within yourself, because your actions when you leave here will answer the question.
Amen.
Am I willing to stay in this place that I am of dysfunction, turn my life turns upside down? Or am I willing to say, you know what? I'm ready to go to the next level in Him. But it starts with obedience, and then it starts with me trusting God in faith that know that God's going to take care of my situation. I know it's not going to be easy. They made choices that got them into the situation that they were in. But God says, even when you made that bad choice, 4, 5 kids later, 7, 8 baby daddies later, you didn't tore up car after car, you didn't lost job after job. He said, even when you made all the mistakes, I'm still going to provide for you.
Come on.
Them folk that done mess you over, they'll probably never call you again.
That's right.
That job that promised you great riches will probably never rehire you. God said, no, not wonder that I did not fire you. He said, I didn't fire you. I just let you go through your situation. But I'm giving you a new application today that says you're restored, not rehired. God said, I'm trying to restore you today. I didn't fire you. You just had to go through the process. Now that you've gone through the process, now let's be restored. He said, I'm going to bring you back to that place where you were exiled from.
Amen.
Only because you served your time in that place of dysfunction, despair. You built what I told you to build. You did what you sowed, what you were supposed to sow. But he said, now is your time to be restored. The question has to be today, are you ready to be restored? Or are you fine where you at? That's your question for today. Somebody here today is wondering, do I want to be restored or am I cool where I'm at? Let us stand today in reverence for what God's doing. Because the thing about it is this, you got to understand this one thing. Am I content with where I'm at? Or am I going to do exactly what God has asked me to do? However hard it is when we're in the situation we're in, God says, I still got a plan for you. I'm not here to destroy you. I don't want to put you down. I don't want to go through none of those different things. He said, I got a plan for you, Brother Roosevelt. I got a plan for you, Sister Carly. I got a plan for you, Brother Deacon. Everybody, I got a plan for you. Byron, he said, I got a plan for you. But he said, are you willing to walk out on the promise, or you want to believe what's going on around you?
Amen.
God says today is your day. For somebody who doesn't have that connection with Him,